All right, what's up, my peeps? Joshua Smithy with another GSD Mode podcast weekly real estate tip, where every single week I come to you sharing different tips, tactics, and strategies that I've learned on my 20-year-long real estate journey that have allowed me to become one of the top realtors and team leaders on the planet with selling well over 7,000 homes and sharing this information with you in hopes that you take this information in, that then you take massive action on it and go out there and create that real estate business and life that you truly know that you want and deserve. All right, so today I'm going to be covering and breaking down, look, if I were starting over as a brand new realtor, brand new real estate agent, starting all over from scratch, knowing everything that I've learned on my 20-year-long journey to this point, I'm going to walk you through the top 10 things that I would make sure I had dialed in, that I would make sure that I do immediately out of the gate. So then that way I could go out there and start gaining clients and grow my business as fast as absolute possible. And one of the very difficult things about our industry is, look, we go to real estate school thinking that, okay, we're going to learn about real estate, but then very quickly it becomes evident that, yeah, you're learning contracts, you're learning local laws, all the things that kind of keep yourself and your clients out of trouble. But again, it becomes very evident very quickly that, okay, I'm not learning how to make money here. So then we think that, oh, we're going to go join this brokerage and that the broker is going to solve that problem for us and give us the insights on exactly what to go out there and do. And we think our broker is going to help solve that problem. Then we go find a brokerage, and then we quickly realize that, oh crap, the broker exists to protect the consumer, a place to hang our license, cut our commission checks, make sure the I's are dotted, the T's are crossed, and really the broker's role is to oversee us to protect the consumer. And then we realize, oh crap, man, we are on our own. And one of the reasons why I'm truly convinced that we have essentially 90% of those that enter this industry that end up dropping out in the first 3 to 5 years. So only 10% make it past that 3 to 5 year range, is because they're missing that blueprint. Yeah, there's a percentage of them that are lazy, not willing to do the work, but I know a ton, and I've met a ton of hardworking realtors that are willing to put in the work, that do put in the work, but are still broke, still struggling to go out there and make things take place because they don't know what to take action on. They don't know what that blueprint is. And look, I had to, go through this and learn this the hard way. Unfortunately, we got to go through the school of hard knocks. So today I'm going to go through again the top 10 things, knowing what I know now, that I would dial in to just accelerate this growth, get clients right away, and go out there and scale my business at a much faster rate than I did initially inside my own real estate career. Now, real quick, before I dive into these 10 different things, make sure that you go check out www.gsdmode.com. That's my personal website. A lot of additional free tools, resources. I highly encourage you to download my free ebook on there where I break down 42 top tips inside there. There's a lot of different tips when it comes to strategy, when it comes to different scripts, and so forth on there, 100% free. Also, right now, I am doing a 100% free 3-hour in-depth masterclass on the 6 fundamental steps to 3xing or more your real estate business in the next 12 months in this challenging market that we are amongst. And I highly encourage all of you to jump on that, to go out there and take it. Yes, I understand it's 3 hours. That is a long time to sit there and listen to a training, but I can promise you, I'm not here to waste your time. It's nothing. It's just packed with massive, massive value to make sure that you have all of the knowledge and everything that you need right now during probably the most challenging market, at least in my 20 years that I've been in the business, that I've seen out there. And when I say the most challenging market, where I'm seeing the most percentage or the biggest percentage of those in our industry struggle right now, even more so than I saw during the great financial crisis. So I highly encourage you to go out there and take that. Again, 100% free, no strings attached. And I've designed it where at the end of the training, I'm going to give you a way to download the whole entire slide deck that I designed to be your implementation blueprint. So not only am I going to walk you through all the things that you need to know, the information on there, but then I give you kind of the playbook to follow after the fact. So then you can have success on implementation of that information. So again, go check out www.gsdmode.com for those additional resources. Okay, so now let's dive into the top 10 things that I would make sure to dial in immediately inside my business. And look, all 10 of these are essential. When I was coming up with this list, I wasn't like, I want to talk about the top 10 things. I just started listing out, okay, knowing everything I know now, what are the things that I would 100% dial in, that I know are non-negotiables, that I know are must-haves, if I want to go out there and scale my real estate business as fast as possible, knowing everything that I know right now. So my recommendation isn't to, oh, let me just pick the 3 of the 10 that Josh is talking about here. My recommendation is to make sure that you are dialing in all 10 of these as quickly as damn possible inside your real estate business. So I'm not just going to go through what they are, but I also want to hit on why this is so important for each of these. And some might be a little bit, more of an explanation than others because some of these are kind of self-explanatory. Okay, so number one, the first thing, and these aren't in any particular order, like 10 isn't the most important. These are just all extremely important. Okay, so number one, first thing that I would do is dial in and get inside my business, my tracking system. Now, okay, if I'm brand new and let's just assume that I don't have a lot of money, I'm going to leverage as many free different platforms out there as I can. And look, I still use free tracking systems. So I use Google Drive, go in there, create Google Sheets around this stuff. It's free. I don't just use it just because it's free. I can afford to go out there and pay, buy trackers, but I like it because it's the best, at least for me, because I have full autonomy to create and build out whatever I want to build out, track anything that I want to track in the way that I want to track it. But the reason why tracking is so important now, unfortunately, only, I don't know, maybe 3%, maybe even 2% of our industry actually tracks. The pros track, amateurs don't. So the reason this is so important is the only way to know what's truly working and what's not working. So what to scale up and what to scale down or what to scale out is through tracking our data. What's tracked is, what's tracked and measured ends up growing. So we got to know what our data is inside of our business. It's also the only way to create predictability. So it's the only way to, again, know if something's working or if it's not working. It's the only way to create that predictability where I can then ensure, like I can break down that data and know with precision exactly how many leads, how much energy, and how much effort equates to a closing. So if I want to make sure that I'm continuing to grow my business and sustaining that business, it's an impossibility to do that consistently over time if we don't have our track data. Tracking also allows us to see what areas of growth we need inside of our business. And what am I going to track? Okay, I'm going to be tracking number of leads per lead source that I'm going after. And we'll talk about identifying lead sources later. And one of the other tips here, or one of the other things that'll be getting dialed in, but I'm going to track a number of leads per lead source, number of reach outs, number of conversations, number of appointments set, number of appointment conductions, number of clients, number of closings. That gives me my overall conversions. So then I know total number of leads per lead source and how much energy and effort. So I know my overall conversions, again, to create that predictability. But then each one of those different numbers tells us a different story. So, okay, if my appointment set to conduction rate is low, okay, I know the 4 things to dial in immediately to get that where it should be. And all of these things, one thing that I've just found to be so damn essential, just this understanding is we are in an industry that small, tiny hinges swings big ass doors. There is no magic pill. It's about paying attention to the finite details. And one of the big differences between the pros and the amateurs is the pros pay attention to every detail and they execute on the fundamentals, the basics at a much higher level and a much more consistent level. So item number one, I dial in and start tracking my business out of the gate immediately. Okay, so then item number 2 is I would identify, and I've got kind of 2 things included here on this one. So I'd identify my CRM along with my website. Now, let me first hit on website here. Do you need a real estate business or do you need a website to grow your real estate business? The answer to that is no. Lots of things you can do out there to go out there and grow your real estate business. But I want you just to think for a second. Okay, anything that you do in your life, let's just say you're going to go get your house painted. Just pay attention to your own behavior and observe your own behavior when you are a consumer, when you got your consumer hat on and you're not wearing your realtor hat, how you go out there and vet people, how you go out there and do your due diligence. Like if it's anything of significance that you're investing any element of money into, I'm guessing that you go and you expect them to have a website. You expect to, have a certain professionalism, a certain professional look, a certain, definitely a website, even when it comes to house paint. Let's just say I'm going to go find a company that's going to cost me $5,000 or $10,000 to paint, my house or whatever. Look, I'm going to go on the internet and I'm going to go search them up. Even if it comes from a referral, I'm still going to go out there and check them out. So the thing is yeah, you don't necessarily need a website to go out there and generate business and get business depending on the different ways that you're doing your lead gen. If you're doing online digital marketing and some of those elements, then a website might be necessary for that lead gen. However, though, you are, the probability is extremely high that you are missing out on opportunities when people are doing their due diligence about you. And then they see that, oh man, this person doesn't even have a damn website. All those little things matter. And this stuff isn't, this next thing I'm going to say isn't on my list here, but just like, okay, if anybody emails me that's soliciting me from business and they have an at Gmail, an at Yahoo, an at Hotmail, I immediately delete it and do not take them seriously, because I'm like, okay, anybody that's serious, that's a business operator, that's a professional, is going to have a business email. Yeah, right. All those little tiny things make a difference and add up. So I'm going to make sure I've got a website, up and launched. Then from there, making sure that my CRM system is fully dialed in. And when I say, let me break down why this is important, because I've got so much trainings on CRMs and different things. So I'm not going to go into how to set your CRM up. I recently released a podcast about the top mistakes that realtors make when it comes to setting up their CRM. So if you don't know how to set up your CRM, I encourage you to go watch that video or listen to that podcast there. But the reason why CRM is so important is this is our customer relationship management system. This is how I am managing all my leads, clients, customers, past clients, sphere of influence. And I'm just telling you, it is an impossibility to maximize lead conversions if you do not have your CRM, not just in place, but fully dialed in, right? So we got to learn it. We got to make sure we've set up with the right instructions. We got to feed it those right follow-up sequences. It's the only way to stay on task with this stuff and maximize your overall conversions if you are wanting to go out there and, again, optimize the conversions that you are getting. So damn important, right? And this is something that, the pros just understand, know. They know their tools inside and out. They know their systems inside and out. So number 2, I'd get my CRM dialed in and I'd get my website up and rocking and rolling. Okay, then item number 3 is immediately I would identify and master a world-class buyer consultation and a world-class listing presentation. Why is this so important? And this is one of the big mistakes I made early on in my business. Actually all 3 of these I've already went through. It took me about a year of jumping in the industry before I started discovering the importance of these. So I could have generated a hell lot more leads, just generate a lot more business in my first year, and I created a lot of unnecessary resistance because I didn't know these things in that first 12 months, right? It took me a little bit of time to wake up to some of these things. Okay, so as in real estate, we are in a 2-step sales process. So all of your lead gen and lead follow-up exist to set the appointment. And what I mean by a 2-step sales process is, okay, like step 1 is you set the appointment. Step 2, you got to conduct the appointment to go out there and convert them into a client. So to get a customer, there are 2 steps. That's why in the sales world, this is called a 2-step sales process, right? So, okay, I don't want to invest all this time and energy on my lead gen and lead follow-up to just get to the conference room table or the kitchen table and then flop or not convert at an adequate high enough level to convert those potential customers into clients. Because again, I'm putting all that energy and effort and creating all this unnecessary resistance to just get to the damn table and go out there and flop it. So I'm going to I'm going to go out there and find a world-class buyer consultation, a world-class listing presentation. And I'm not just saying go out there and buy this shit online or, I see a lot of people now going to Etsy and just buying a fancy. That's not what a presentation is. You got the visual presentation, but that is really irrelevant. By presentation, I mean, there are 4 things that you must master and have in place and master when it comes to a dialed-in presentation. Number 1, you got to be able to inform and educate. Inform and educate goes 2 ways. You got to be informed and educated on what their real estate goals are, what they want, why they want it, why it's important to them. And then they've got to be well informed and educated on what the overall process is. So part of my presentation framework, if you will, is, okay, inform and educate. The next step is to articulate your value. So the whole point of that presentation is to get them convinced that you are the right person for the job, to help them get from point A to point B, help them accomplish their real estate goals. And if you've convinced them adequately, then boom, they move forward with you, right? So form and educate, articulate your value. Step 3 of the 4-step framework is to identify and overcome any objections, aka concerns. You got to know how to do that effectively. And then step 4 is lead seamlessly into the close. So it's not about a fancy presentation. If you want to go make your presentation all super pretty and fancy, cool. Like I can go onto a listing presentation or a buyer consultation with zero materials, zero presentations, and convert just as high as I do if I have a fancy presentation with me. The presentation isn't about the actual, slides themselves. The presentation is about the presentation, if that makes sense. But you've got to have it in place. And then when I say master it, and this is something that took me about 2 years to figure out and learn the hard way. But this is where, okay, I would be spending a couple hours every single evening. So go work your ass off all day long. And then once you get home and after you get done spending some time with the family, whatever, set up at the kitchen table, pretend as if there's buyers or sellers on the other side of that table. And boom, you're getting in 3 reps on your buyer consultation, 3 reps on your listing presentation every single night. So in that first 12 months, you got 1,000 reps on your buyer consultation, listing presentation, where you've truly mastered. And I promise you, if you do this, like while your competitors are binge watching Netflix, getting drunk, participating in just stupid things that, aren't going to grow their real estate business or serve and support them in any way in their life. While they're doing those things, while they're being distracted, this is where mastery happens. Mastery happens when eyeballs are not on us. And if you want to go pro, because here's the thing, eventually you'll have this stuff down where you don't need to keep doing that. After a year, you get in your 1,000 reps, like you're not going to need to keep that going after the fact per se. Because you'll have mastered it, you'll have it down, backwards, forwards in your sleep. You'll be able to go present it with extreme levels of confidence, and all of those things. That's what I mean by dialing in and mastering your buyer and listing presentation. Okay, so step number 4 is I would identify the right mentor. And whether that be a broker, whether that be a team leader, whether that be a coach, whether it be a coach like myself, or I'm not here to, try to pitch my coaching here on the podcast, but whether it be a, mentor and coach like myself or somebody else, or again, this can also be a broker, can also be a team leader. This is what I did. And one of the reasons why I was able to sell 48 deals my first year and 103 my second is I identified who is the biggest badass inside my real estate, like who's the biggest badass in my market that I can go join their brokerage, that I can be mentored by. Because look, it's hard enough just to execute on the activities, execute on the actions. Like that's already hard enough. And then if we want to start stacking in, okay, now I got to also reinvent the wheel and figure all this stuff out. You're immediately setting yourself up for failure. So make sure that you are identifying the right mentor that can just give you the blueprint, that can be there for you, that can help show you the way, and that can save you years and years and years. Just from trying to figure this stuff out on your own. And a lot of people never end up, they're never able to figure this out on their own. So that's the other caveat to it is it's like, okay, a great mentor can not only ensure that you have the right path to save that time, but there's more than not a bigger percentage of those that never identify the right mentor. They think that they're going to eventually figure it out, and then they just never are able to figure it out on their own. There's no guarantee that you are going to figure it out on your own. So I'd identify the right mentor. Okay, so then number 5, and this one might sound basic, but I can't tell you how many people that I see that miss this step is go out there on all your social media platforms and make sure everything is updated accordingly. Job title, website, phone numbers, emails. You want to make sure it's as easy as possible for people to know what you do for who you are, what you do for a living, and how to get in touch with you. So like I have a rule of thumb. Okay, when anybody lands on a website, it's like, okay, within 2 seconds, they should know who you are, what you do for a living, how you can help them, where you can help them, and make it as easy and as quick as possible for them to get in touch with you. So going through and auditing all the different social media platforms that you have and making sure that all your contact information is updated on there. Then from there, I would utilize and leverage social media as my social CRM. So, okay, let's just say I'm starting over. And let's just pretend I do not have access to my past clients. Like I'm starting over, but I don't have access to my past clients. So I got to grow this again from scratch. Okay, well, I know like we all have a sphere of influence. So many in this industry sit there and think that, oh, my sphere of influence, I don't have any sphere of influence because I don't have any past clients. That's just one silo. So then from there, it's like, okay, you got people that you work with at your previous career, all your coworkers, friends, family members, people that you grew up with. All those warm relationships is part of your sphere of influence. So I would start making sure, like when I bring in a brand new real estate agent on my team, this is one of the first things that I have them do is go through and start friend requesting anybody that they know that may have any element of a probability of buying or selling real estate through them or referring them somebody to buy or sell real estate. whether that be now or in the future, and making sure that they're connected, at least on the major platforms that we utilize in real estate. So on Facebook and Instagram. So we want to make sure that we're connected on there with them. Then from there, I have them start priming the algorithm. So then I'll be like, okay, like I want you to go through before you even start posting for the next, week, let's just say, go through and just start liking and commenting on everybody's stuff. So an easy way to do this is, okay, you got the first day of the month, I'm going to go through all my friends, that are my A category. Second day of the month, all of my friends that are, B category, C category, right? So then you're liking, commenting, because the algorithm is a two-way street. If you are liking and commenting on their stuff, then boom, they're going to start seeing your stuff, right? So, and that's just a good thing to understand. If you are not seeing their stuff, they are not seeing your stuff. So you got to make sure that you're kind of, again, priming this algorithm, when it comes to that. Then we got to make sure that we have an effective, consistent posting strategy. And for me, it's what I call my 4-to-1 strategy, which means 75, out of 4 posts, 1 is real estate related, the other 3 are not. So another way you can look at it as 75-25, right? 75% is non-real estate related, 25% real estate related. So because if we look at the real estate game, it's to get people to know you, like you, trust you, be aware of what you do for a living, keep your message in front of them frequently, and or stay in touch frequently. Your business continues to grow and expand. So, all the know, like, trust is going to be the non-real estate related stuff. But then we got to plant that seed 25% of the time of, oh, hey, don't forget I'm in real estate. Don't forget I'm in real estate. Don't forget, right? Like, can't be a secret agent out there. So step number 5 is I make sure to update all my social media platforms accordingly. So I got, going back to step number 2, got my website presence. And then I got all my social media platforms where I'm linking them back, back and forth to each other. But then from there, so it's easy for when people Google me, or it's easy to be found. And your social media platforms are going to be pulled up and gain way stronger SEO than your website will, at least initially. Then from there, I'm going to leverage social media as my SOI CRM and start with my strategy there. Okay, so then step number 6, or the item number 6 that I would do, is then I would come up with my overall sphere of influence strategy. So I know I just kind of talked about this in the previous step, but let me chunk this down. Right? Because again, we all have these relationships of people that know us. They know us, like they know you, like you, trust you, or they somewhat know you. Maybe they don't quite like and they don't know if they like and trust you yet, but it's a lot easier to convert semi-warm, lukewarm relationships into super warm relationships than it is cold relationships. So, and this is where the difference between pros and amateurs, man. So if you're a pro, think of your sphere of influence as a circle, right? So you got it like as this wheel. So you got this circle wheel. Then from there, you got these spokes, the hub, right? So you got all these different spokes, leading off of there. Okay, your past clients, which you're not going to have any yet, that would be one of the silos. But then from there, I want to start chunking down, okay, all the other areas of my life. I'm going to start putting out, that's another spoke inside the wheel. That's another spoke, right? So start breaking this down, okay? Like coworkers from my previous job, our previous jobs, people I went to school with, friends and family members. Then from there, start chunking that down further, okay? Like I've got, my kids, okay? And then with my kids, I've got their friends and their friends' parents, so example with this, it's like, okay, I've got one son that's in soccer. Okay, well, I get to know, all the other, parents and, soccer dads, whatever that are out, because I take them to practice twice a week. Okay, what's my potential strategy there? Okay, my daughter's in cross country. Okay, same thing there. When we're at the events, talk with the other parents. What's the strategy there? My other son's in volleyball and a band, then boom, okay, I can start looking at strategies there. Then, okay, like I go to the gym. I know people at the gym. Okay, what's my strategy there? Maybe you're part of a hiking club or CrossFit or an off-roading group, or maybe you're a golfer, so each one of these becomes a different spoke in my sphere of influence wheel. So I would craft that wheel and then make sure I'm coming up with the right strategy for each one of those separate spokes. So this is what, again, big difference between pros and amateurs is amateurs just wing it. Pros operate with precision. They break down a strategic plan with precision for each one of these different things. And that also applies to new client acquisition, which we'll talk about here actually in the next item number 7 that I'd get dialed in. So item number 6, sphere of influence strategy, which I just broke down. Okay, so number 7 would be my new client acquisition strategy. Because look, sphere of influence, yeah, that can lead to now immediate business sometimes, but it's not in our control. And it can be in your control, meaning the more action that you take, however, that's a defensive strategy, right? So it's not necessarily guaranteed. So now I'm talking about, okay, what can I put together for this next step, step number 7, where I'm playing offense, where, okay, I take, X amount of actions and I'm pretty much guaranteed to get X amount of results with this. So my new client acquisition strategy. So just thinking about another way to say new client acquisition is just, okay, what are my lead gen strategies? Lead gen, lead follow-up strategies to go out there and convert new customers. Because if I was starting over brand new, I didn't have any past clients, like I'm starting from scratch. I'm building again. I'm starting from scratch. And this is what happened with me. When I first got in the real estate business, I just moved from Michigan to Arizona. I didn't know anybody out here. I didn't grow up out here. I didn't really have any friends out here. Like I had to build this up from scratch, when I was brand new. So I just focused on new client acquisition strategies at a very, very high level. So then there's kind of two things that I would not kind of, there are two things that I would do here when it comes to my new client acquisition strategy. So I would break down and identify at least one, and I would recommend that you just do one, right? So this is what I would do for myself is, okay, one immediate now business strategy, meaning where I do this activity and I'm going to see the fruits of those labors in 90 to 120 days. So there's no such thing as truly immediate income in real estate, but there are activities that, okay, if I start taking activities on these things right now, okay, it can lead to commission checks in the next 90 to 120 days. So that's what I classify as now business activities. Those activities that we do, that if we do them right, can lead to income and scale up our income in the next 90 to 120 days. Then we got your longer term strategies. So longer term might be that 6, 12 plus month. It's got to take time to build up that momentum. So a good example of a long-term strategy is something like YouTube. Build out an organic YouTube channel. One of the best lead sources that I've ever seen. Highest converting leads. I mean, it's just an amazing lead source. But the problem with it is, okay, you do everything right. You execute on it flawlessly. On average, it's at least 9 months. Usually what I see is with my agents and coaching clients is it's a little bit closer to about 12 months. Not saying you might not pop some deals before that, but before we start seeing, having it where it's a consistent, reliable lead gen or client generating strategy. So it's a longer term strategy. And kind of a rule of thumb inside of our industry is, okay, inbound, like marketing / inbound based, doesn't necessarily mean marketing where you're having to spend money, but when it's inbound based, those typically are longer term, more nurture longer term sources. And then prospecting based, well, we are taking action. We're not waiting for things to come to us. Like we're taking action. So open houses, pounding the phones, door knock, right? Those prospecting based activities, are typically going to lead to more now business, more immediate now business. So then, okay, I'm going to stack my immediate, source. And I'm not going to break down which exactly thing that I would do. Because I've got so many podcasts around that, when it comes to this. Biggest thing is okay, I'm going to have one prospecting source that's going to be immediate. Then I'm going to stack on one longer term. So let's just say, like if I was wanting to be a little bit more buy side focused and focus more on the buy side, which when you're new, sometimes that's easier to scale up. Doesn't cost as much money, whatnot. Then, okay, I'd be like doing open houses and then build my YouTube channel. So I got my immediate and then my long-term. And eventually, okay, the long-term stuff, once that starts really kicking up, well, then, okay, we can drop that prospecting-based stuff if we choose to, or let's just say I was going after listings. Okay, my mailer campaigns might be the longer term. And then pounding the phones and going after, let's just say, expireds or FSBOs or absentee owners or divorces or pre-foreclosures, those high converting, at least in this current market, listing sources. That would, pounding the phones would be my immediate. So I'd have one immediate, one long-term, and then the third, because I'd have a multi-pronged strategy. The third component would be my sphere of influence, past client, repeat referral business, which we already talked about, the sphere of influence leg of that. I'll talk about past client here in a second, but that's going to be part of my sphere of influence, strategy. So now I got a 3-pronged strategy. Sphere of influence, past clients, right? And past clients is a silo. So I should just say sphere of influence, right? Then I got my immediate, then I've got my long-term. So now I got a 3-pronged strategy for new client acquisition. And when I talk about this, like this is where, okay, leveraging number 4 that I talked about, finding that right mentor. And this is why that right mentor is so important is, okay, I want to make sure that I've got the right strategy plan for each one of these things that I'm executing on, because it can make a world of difference. It's the difference between getting a deal under contract in your first, getting a client and a deal under contract in your first week or two versus 6 months, 12 months, or longer, right? So it makes a world of difference there. Okay, so then item number 8 that I'd make sure that I do immediately is dialing in my past client repeat referral strategy. Now, this is something that I do even with brand new agents that join my real estate team or my coaching program. Get their past client strategy dialed in right out of the gate. And a common pushback that I get on this is, well, Josh, I don't even have any clients yet. Why would I worry about that? Well, if we don't dial this in out of the gate and right away, here's what takes place is you start getting so busy with you, like you're doing all your new client acquisition strategy. You start getting busy with clients. Then you got, next thing you know, you're consistently having 3, 4, 5 deals under contract at any given time. You're doing your lead gen, lead follow-up, setting appointments. You start to get so busy in that world that then, okay, you close the deal, you collect your commission check, and you abandon those past clients, which is what 90% of our industry does. And we know this through NAR's research and studies, post purchase surveys that they do, where it shows that 88% of buyers and sellers said they love their agent, would absolutely utilize their agent again, but only 11% ever do a repeat transaction. And it's not because they forgot, or it's not because of overtime their agent did a sheer job in their head. No, it's because they forgot the damn agent's name. So this is your future goal. Even though it's a longer term play, this is your future goal. If you do this right, by like year 5 in the business, 50% of your business should be coming in from repeat referral business if you nail the past client sphere of influence strategy. So if you're doing 100 units a year, okay, 50 of those units should be coming from your sphere of influence, past client repeat referral strategy. So get this in place just so you know, okay, as soon as they close, because your past clients quickly become your number one lead source, right? So as soon as they close them, bam, you have this in place, for them. Okay, so then number 9 is I would then identify what the best schedule is for me to go out there and follow. Now, this is going to be dependent upon what your situation is, whether you're part-time, full-time, your commitments outside of real estate. If you have kids, don't have kids, how many deals that you want to be doing. Obviously somebody that wants to, has maybe another gig, and they just want to scale to closing 1 deal a month, but they only have 20 hours a week to allocate to their real estate business, which all that's very, very easy and doable to do in this industry. That's going to be different than somebody that's full-time, that can give full-time focus, that wants to be closing 1 a week. So with that though, I would make sure that I've got my schedule and my calendar in place where I know exactly, hey, here's what time I start my workday every single, like here's what time I got to wake up. Here's my morning routine. Here's the time I got to start my workday every single day. But then, here's when I start my workday. Here's when I end my workday. But then within there, what you got to be doing, like every hour is accounted for. So you never want to start a day without having committed to paper first, right? Like you never want to show up to the office and be like, I'm going to work hard today. And then you got to ask yourself, well, what am I going to work hard on? Like you should know with precision what you must execute on every single day to make that day a win. So making sure that you've got your schedule, your master schedule overall and dialed in. Okay, so step number 10, item number 10 that I would make sure that I had dialed in order to scale my business as soon as possible, as well as get now immediate clients, is I would identify the skill sets that I'm lacking, that I need to master based on what my overall strategy plan is. We got to be able to identify, okay, what are those skills that we need to be able to execute on our strategies at the highest possible level? And the first skill set that agents need to master in this business is new client acquisition. When it comes like if you haven't mastered that skill set yet, and what do I mean by new client acquisition? Master, your ability to identify the right proven plan to go out there and gain those customers. Okay, your ability to identify the right proven process for that strategy, your ability to identify and master the systems that you need to execute on that strategy, and then from there, okay, again, what are the skills that you need? So, and this is going to be different depending on if I'm doing YouTube, I got to be able to master my call to actions. I got to master my video framework, my ability to go out there and research, my ability to go out there and do the right headlines and have the right scripting. And, I got to master YouTube and my ability to be able to deliver good videos, right? All of those things. Okay. If I'm doing cold calls, I have to master my ability to go out there and pre-frame and tonality, and pacing and what that scripting is, right? So depending on what strategy that we have, that will determine the skill sets that you need to master. So I'd identify what are the skill sets that I'm lacking, that I need to dial in to maximize my success with this blueprint plan. So then that way I can create as much success as possible, out there. And then once I got all these 10 things dialed in, now with this, I know this sounds like a lot, but look, like when I bring on a brand new agent, I'm just speaking to my own real estate company out here in Phoenix, Arizona, like with these, we can have these dialed in and shit, like a week, I give agents 2 weeks, kind of our 14-day onboarding process that we put them through. So I give them up to 2 weeks, just in case they're part-time or whatever. But look, like if it were me, and this is a little bit different because I know how to dial these things in so damn fast. This is like a 3-day project, to get these things dialed in. This is not like, I got to spend 6 months dial. Like, dude, if you take 6 months dialing these things in, there's bigger issues here. Like these are quick things. So then from there though, now I've got the foundations. So now I can just go out there and execute and boom, start getting those results that I want and need to get ASAP. All right. So here are the top 10 things that I would do if I were brand new, starting over, knowing what I know now today to start getting clients and scale my business as fast as possible and growing as fast as I possibly can. So I hope that you found this helpful. Again, make sure to check out gsdmode.com for more additional resources. And I highly encourage you to jump on that 3-hour masterclass that I have taking place right now, which is 6 steps to 3xing or more your real estate business in the next 12 months in this challenging real estate market that we are in. We are in the most competitive real estate landscape that we've ever seen. The economy is going to get much worse before it gets better. We're transitioning right now from this extreme seller's market into a buyer's market, and the extremeness of the buyer's market is probably going to be pretty extreme. Like you got to make sure that you know what you're doing. So if you are struggling at all right now, if your business isn't kicking ass and growing and you do not know what to do when it comes to a buyer's market and how to scale during those times, you need to take this training immediately. Like don't pass go, like just go take it immediately. And I have it going on every single day. So go to gsdmode.com. You'll see it on the front page, or you can click the resources tab, say online masterclass. And again, 100% free, no strings attached. Just create it to help you guys, support you guys, and help you go out there and crush it in your real estate business. So I hope this was helpful. Keep crushing, keep kicking ass. I will see you next time. Peace.